Okay, let's dive right into this explainer on Chapter 9 of Bacha Khan's autobiography, titled The Khilafat Movement. We're going to explore a truly incredible journey here, one of nonviolent resistance and just absolute unwavering commitment. It's a powerful story, really, about what happens when the fight for progress hits major roadblocks, and not just from the outside, but from the inside too. So, think about this for a second. What does a true leader do when their own movement literally tears itself apart from the inside? Because right as the Khilafat movement in Peshawar was supposed to be gaining momentum and, actually driving change, it suddenly fractured into warring factions. The unity just completely dissolved, and someone had to step up to fix it.
Section 1. A movement divided.
Well, what happened was this totally ego-driven divide quickly took over. You had two rival leaders claiming the exact same presidency on consecutive days. Seriously. One day, Haji John Muhammad Sahib is unanimously elected at a huge public meeting. But literally the very next day, Syed Sahib and his friends hold their own meeting, claiming his right to leadership is greater because he's a true follower of the Prophet. And the crowd just shouts, "Agreed!" Just like that, the leadership is split right down the middle. As you can imagine, this caused absolute chaos. Agitations skyrocketed, and Bacha Khan noted with deep frustration that precious time was simply being wasted. The normally hardworking people of Peshawar were essentially rendered useless to the movement, all because of this intense disharmony. Actually, Bacha Khan was on friendly terms with both sides, and he just absolutely hated seeing all that momentum and energy drain away over petty infighting.
Section 2. Focusing on education.
To fix this massive rift, both factions reluctantly drew Bacha Khan into leadership, which is funny because he fundamentally disliked holding high office. But he laid down a singular, brilliant condition before accepting the presidency. Both sides trusted him, but he made it clear he wasn't interested in a fancy title for the sake of power. He said he would only accept if all the subscriptions, the funds collected in the frontier province, were spent solely on education within the province. I mean, it just proves his focus was 100% on uplifting the people. And once he accepted the presidency on those terms, he didn't waste a single minute. He immediately got to work. First, he took the reins of the committee. Second, he started touring the tribal districts. He wanted to get out there, meet the public face-to-face, and actually exchange ideas. And then, most importantly, he started reopening old schools in those tribal areas. He took all that fractured, messy political energy and channeled it directly into something productive: education. Section 3. The British Pushback. Now, as you might guess, this highly effective educational campaign quickly caught the attention and the ire of the British Empire. Fast forward just 6 months after Bacha Khan opens a school at Oatman's, the British Chief Commissioner calls in Bacha Khan's father and issues a pretty thinly veiled ultimatum. He basically says, look, while everyone else is staying quietly at home, your son is out touring and opening schools. He flat out tells the father, ask him to give up these activities and stay at home. When his father gently relays this message, kinda asking his son why he doesn't just stay comfortably at home like everyone else, Bacha Khan is understandably upset, but he instantly recognizes what's going on. He realizes that the British don't hesitate for a second to sow discord between a father and a son if it serves their purpose of maintaining control. It was a classic divide-and-conquer tactic. Section 4. A Sacred Duty. This brings us to what I think is the most history-making confrontation of this whole story between a deeply religious father and his very determined son. Bacha Khan knew he had to frame his mission in a way his father would instantly, deeply understand. So he challenges him with this profound, hypothetical question. He asks, Father, if everybody else stops saying their namaz, their daily prayers, would you advise me to do the same? His father is just shocked by the very idea and immediately replies, God forbid! Saying namaz is a sacred duty. And that is when Bacha Khan delivers the knockout point. He replies that educating the people and serving the nation is as sacred a duty as namaz. And you know what? His father passionately agrees. He totally realizes the absolute gravity of his son's mission. He tells him that if it's truly that sacred, he must never give it up. And then the father bravely goes back and informs the chief commissioner that they cannot possibly give up their religion or their sacred duties just to make the British authorities happy. Section 5. The Harsh Reality of Prison. Following that incredibly brave stance, the blowback was swift. Bacha Khan is arrested just a few days later. They ask him to furnish security, basically bail, which he flatly refuses to do, and so on December 11th, 1921, he is sentenced under the frontier crime regulation to 3 years of rigorous imprisonment.
And let me tell you, rigorous was an understatement. The conditions were horrifying. They were deliberately designed to completely break the spirits of incoming prisoners. Imagine being thrown straight into solitary confinement, locked in heavy fetters, and forced to wear an iron collar around your neck with a little identity disc hanging from it that detailed your crime and sentence. Just brutal. On top of that, prisoners faced a grueling daily quota, grinding 20 sears of corn by hand every single day. But there's a small glimmer of humanity here. It's worth noting that the warder in Bacha Khan's prison was an honest, sympathetic Hindu man. Out of sheer respect for Bacha Khan, he actually spared him from wearing those fetters and from the agonizing daily labor of grinding all that corn. Still, the indignities didn't stop at just physical labor. The source text shares this truly heartbreaking anecdote about the prison uniforms. They were so degrading, so dehumanizing, that a boy in the prison couldn't even recognize his own father, who was weeping right beside him. The boy was crying out, desperately looking for his dad, and the father had to say, "Son, I am here, right beside you." It was a total, systematic stripping away of identity and dignity.
And for a guy like Bacha Khan, who was this tall, physically robust leader, it was physically absurd. Contrast his massive stature with the ridiculously small, degrading prison clothing they forced him to squeeze into. His trousers didn't even reach his calves, and they were so tight they were literally tearing at the seams. Meanwhile, his shirt completely stopped above his waist. To make matters even worse, he was given exactly 3 blankets and a single piece of scratchy gunny sacking to sleep with. Which sounds like something, until you realize these offered absolutely zero real protection against the bitter, biting cold of a sunless, north-facing solitary cell. So, all of this brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought to leave you with. How does an unbreakable spirit survive the freezing dark of a solitary cell? Bacha Khan made a monumental, life-altering sacrifice just for the simple right to educate his people, proving his unwavering commitment even in the face of these brutal conditions. It really leaves us to wonder what awaits him next as he faces a change of prisons in his journey. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.